Hi, everybody. Look like it's just me today. I've got a few things to cover. I think that maybe some people will find interesting. And it's basically from in the trenches of what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. A couple of things have come up. I think, and I've mentioned this in other calls as well, that if you're going to run a real online business, you're going to have a plan for some sort of advertising. The days of just doing it from just Google Organic, they aren't around anymore. They just don't happen. It's too slow. It's too long. It's just not practical. That's really what the main thing is. You're not going to jump to the top of Google rankings in any sort of hurry. So you're going to have some sort of plan for paid advertising. And look, the good thing is you can do it really affordably than you used to be. Now, let me just explain the difference in way advertising has changed. So to do that, you look at TV advertising. They run ads. What happens when they run ads, and I'll tell you this straight away, when people run ads, it encourages people to search. So I've seen this with large advertising campaigns where the company I was doing some work for, they were selling pillows as a special, and we were running paid advertising for them. And then the paid advertising started working really well. Then what we found out was they were running TV advertising, which was then running. So from TV advertising, people search online, and then they were coming through to the ads that we were running. Made the ads look really good, but it's a bit of a false narrative. Just the two things weren't necessarily, they were connecting to each other and they were working in the long term, but they didn't necessarily making the ads work better. But that's the way that the large brand advertising and TV advertising works. Now, if you're watching this, it's probably not you. So that's not something that probably fits with what you want to do. Now, on the other side, places like Facebook advertising have become very affordable. You can run very small campaigns. My thoughts, if you haven't done anything like this before, that you focus on generating leads, doing leads into some sort of offer. But the leads are which market are you going to serve? And I know I've got people in the debt market, but you could do an image. Now I've been using, let me remember the name of the place I was using to do my images. It will come to me later. Create images for free. You could create your ads and then have them up and running based on coming to a single page to generate for them to get more information. And that works great, especially if you don't have any reviews or haven't got any runs on the board, as you need to start generating that community. And then the best option will be refer them into a community like school, so you can then engage with people. So that's what I recommend for any type of advertising, is that type of process. And with that, and reviewing websites this week, there is a definite breakdown in the tracking process. And the best way to describe this, I'm going to do a video on YouTube this week, is let's say, for example, you have Site A. Now, Site A sells clothing, and we've got the clothing shop has a booking system. So you go into Site A, and that might be, abc.co.nz, whatever it is. It goes in, but then it has a booking system to book a meeting. And when you click onto the book a meeting, you go to another website. Now that breaks the flow of the advertising. You cannot track the advertising unless after you make a booking, you then come back to the site again, if you get where I'm coming from. And I'm looking at several sites, including medical booking sites this week. One of them, because you can't track your actual advertising down to what it's created, you're left blind and you don't know which advertising is working. And in the days of digital, you can definitely track all those type of things if they're done correctly. But when you send them out away from your site, but you don't bring them back to a specific page, and I know I'm getting pretty technical here, then you can't track the dots. Imagine the old school, track the dots games that used to have them in, dating myself here, into kids' books. You can track the dots along, but if it goes out and it doesn't come back again, you can't follow the dot. And that's where you can't spend more on advertising because you don't know what's working. And in the days of digital, you don't need to do that. You should have it down in a process where you know where your money is being spent, and then you spend more of it. And a couple of my mentors definitely, the way they think is definitely like that because you can't scale and spend more money advertising if it's going down the toilet, basically. And a lot of these smaller places, like I said, doctors, dentists, podiatrists, those type of things, they haven't got that in place, which is why I'm doing more in that space of setting it up for them. And for starters, working out that where that drop-off point is. Like I said, there'll be another a YouTube video explaining this more coming up this week. But I just wanted to get this in there quick for this group, just to explain what's going on, because many people, even when you try and outsource to people, they don't understand it either. They don't understand that you need to put those dots together, um, so that you can spend your money in the right place. Um, and I've done a couple of videos in Jira, but I'll break it down into a more a straightforward process. Um, and I had someone also say to me, "Oh, I'm not technical. You don't need to be technical. That's what you use people like me for, and people that have the technical element, that can pull these things apart and make them work so they do work." Uh, and like I said, you shouldn't spend more on advertising. Shouldn't keep spending more on advertising unless you know where your money is going. It seems straightforward, but previous advertising models like TV, you never knew. So we don't need to go back to those models. They're broken. They're great for what they call brand exposure, and getting more eyeballs on, um, your company. But most things, like I've seen, for example, I've seen Salesforce advertising on the tennis. You're probably not that type of company. That branding is the big long play, which is, years of that. It's where places like, companies like Tiffany and, all the perfume brands have done it for years, and you probably haven't got that type of budget or that plan to do something like that, but you still can advertise and track and make sure all the dots work together. Might put something more on tracking, into the, community for other people, just to get it. But that's really the key: is you've got to have those numbers in place, just like talking to your accountant. You have an accountant for your, for your dollars. You should have an accountant for your advertising, so you know what's going on. And being completely transparent, the first lot of advertising you do will probably suck. You'll probably be bad at it, and that's actually to be expected. So that's my short and few tips for this week. Look, like I said in other videos, and that if there's anything specific you want to cover, or you've seen any tools that are popping up, I am reviewing AI tools that are popping up a lot. A lot of them are, um, not not necessarily bad, but everyone's putting AI in them. I'm also looking into the DeepSpeak. You would need to Google that and see what's popping up in that. So yeah, I'll keep you updated with what I'm seeing in that space as well. So have a great day, and I'm going to leave you to it.